Gen Xers were the first gamers, choosing to stay home playing with their Atari and Nintendo video games.
The late 80s and 90s of sports video gaming. What a great time to be in gaming. The graphics weren't all that. It wasn't based on how real a game could look. It wasn't about all the different rule sets that it had. It was about whether the game was fun. And nowadays it seems like this is something that we have really got away from because nobody truly makes a fun sports game. And in this video, we're going to go into it and look at some of these gems from the past.
Ready? Go!
Now let's get right into some of these gems. Honestly, 100% gems, diamonds from the late 80s and 90s. One of my games that I constantly go back to is NBA Jam. NBA Jam had the biggest fun factor out there. The crazy dunks, the guys head spinning, the guys getting on fire, just nailing threes from anywhere. And the graphics weren't all that, but it was just the fun factor from the ball lighting up. You know, he's heating up, he's on fire. The fire trail is your, you know what I mean, just swishing threes, Larry Bird. Ridiculously a fun game. Another game that is very much slept on is a game that I enjoyed a lot from the 90s, which was the original Mutant League football. I mean, you can't, there's so much to say about this game in general, just because it was so different and outside of the box and outside the whole spectrum of what anybody expected from a football game. Madden had just got onto the scene, and then you have this wacky game where you can play with robots and skeletons and orcs and just the crazy things, the exploding football, the bribing the referees. It was truly a unique, different, and fun experience. And at that time, you weren't really looking at the graphics. Yeah, it was somewhat pleasing, but the reason that it had you playing for hours upon hours with your friends is because of the gameplay mechanics and the fun factor. Now, also in the 90s, primarily, you had the rise of the computer. And not too many people had computers. I was blessed enough have computers because my brother gave me his hand-me-down. My brother was sort of a athletic nerd, and he gave me his hand-me-down PC. So I had to get some parts for it, and I got it together. And boy, did that open me up to a whole new world of gaming. Up until then, and this is about 95, the only thing that I had known about was, Madden, Mutant League, football. But then I got introduced to front page sports football. And oh my goodness, that game took my soul. That game took my soul. Me and my brother, we recreated, I'm an Ohio boy, we recreated close to 70, almost 80 Ohio high school football teams in this game, front page sports football. And the depth that it had is still unmatched to this very day. I don't know any games that have the things that that game had. I remember my guy got hurt, and I saw next to his name CEI, and I had to ask him, I was like, what is a CEI? He's like, that's a career-ending injury. So, my play, he was just done. That was the end of his career. And the way that it pushed out stats and how close it was as far as the simulation football. This is back in like 1995. I mean, unmatched still to this day. If you have a chance, I think you can still get it running on Windows 10 or Windows 11. But I would highly recommend that anybody who is a franchise or a dynasty enthusiast pick up this game. Don't listen to me ramble about it and how great that this game was. In my opinion, still is. Try it out for yourself. Look up some videos up, do a little bit of research on it. A lot of stuff that is in modern sports games is thanks to this gem from the 90s, Front Page Sports Football. Now, when we did play on the consoles, and we used to have a tournament over at my house. There was probably about 12 of us, 12 of my boys. This is back in the day when we used to run in crews. And how my girlfriend even put up with me at the time. We would literally have Madden seasons, not tournaments, seasons at my house. We'd get a notebook, we'd all pick our teams, and we would write down a schedule. Because it was Madden 94 that we played a lot on. Madden 94, 95. And, there's people nowadays don't realize how spoiled they are. Like, you can get into a connected franchise where, some of your buddies come over and everything's all set up for you, schedule and all that. No, back in the day, we wrote out who was playing who. You know what I mean? So 12 of us, 11, it was like an 11 game schedule. We had it all broken down into to our little conferences and divisions. 3 of us in each division. Division winners made it to the playoffs. And it was awesome. And we played, we put all the money in a pot on a TV set, and whew, boy, people's feelings got hurt. But you didn't have any of the stuff that you got going on now, like trades. Forget that. There were no trades. You had your team, you were rocking with them. And, and these were like the old Sega Genesis, so yeah, your game's not getting patched. If you're playing something and if somebody runs up the middle, well, there was a broken thing. And this was primarily in college football. You could run fullback dive. And if you just, as soon as you got the ball with your fullback, if you just dove forward, he literally would just knock people out the way and just gain 3 yards a clip, anywhere between 3 and 4 yards a clip. So there's no stopping it. And boy, things used to get testy in the house when, somebody would start to win. But, just don't know how good you have it now. I guess it's kind of a give or take thing. I would go back to those days. It seemed a lot more personable than, a lot of these online leagues that you're on where people rage quit. There was no rage quit. I mean, there was rage quitting, but it was highly dramatic. It was like your boy, slamming down the controllers. Oh, fuck out of here. Because usually, we were drinking 40 ounces and, who knows what else. But it was just a good time. It always brought us all together. And we always knew when, Madden was launching, it was a new copy. It was a big deal. The blizzard of, I want to say 95. I can't even tell you how much Madden we played during that. Everybody was just right around the block. We're all buried in snow. You shovel a little tiny tunnel to your buddy's house. Got a copy of Madden? You got some 40s? Let's get this season going. But yeah, it was good time. So that's just a little reminiscent section. We'll go on more and talk about a lot of these great games of the 90s. Now, I know it would appear that we were going to keep this in the 1990s, but I had to dip back to 1987 to show you guys this gem right here. Great football. For anybody that can remember it, was just mind-blowing for its time. Like before then, we had ColecoVision and television football, and it looked, a certain way. But then this game came out. And man, did me and my cousins and my brother have hours and hours upon fun with this game. This game had the AFC League and the NFC League. You could choose a team from either one, and they were all fabricated teams. You had the teams, there was the Foxes, the Bombers, the Beavers, the Sharks, and the Bucks. And for the time, their uniform art was just, it was it. Like, it was it. And I know that Madden always claims that it was the first game that had 11-on-11 football. This right here was actually the first game that had 11-on-11 football. Now, the weird thing about this game was, if you played in the single player mode, you didn't get to play defense. You know, either whatever opponents you played on the ramp up, they had more points than you, and you had to overcome the deficit. And you never got a chance to play defense. But like me and my boys, if you played head to head, you could play defense. And I mean, you know, you see it right there on the screen. It looked kind of wonky, but for the time, it was just groundbreaking. See, guys, you could actually like see their helmets, their shoulder pads. I got plenty of hours of fun from this game, and this is definitely a deep cut for any of the old heads out there that own the original Sega Master System. This was one of the first like true football games that I owned that I enjoyed playing for countless and countless hours. Now, a list of the 90s would not be a great sports games list of the 90s without the originator of ending friendships, of bare knuckle battles in the living room, of people smashing controllers, for people calling you out your name. Yes, it is none other than Tecmo Bowl. And does it amaze anybody that this game is on the list? Probably one of the most played games by Generation Xers in their college years, in their days of skipping school. Just, there's so much about this game right here. And we talk about Bo Jackson, legendary. Bo was legendary in Tecmo Bowl. And I mean, Tecmo Bowl still goes on to this day. At the beginning of the video, I showed you footage from the OG original Tecmo Bowl that was in arcades. You know, you dropped 50 cents in there, played head to head, and the graphics were just outstanding. But then we got the home version of it for the SNES. And I wore out many of controllers playing this game. I broke many of controllers playing this game. It was just such a fun game. The only game where you could throw a 90-yard touchdown bomb to the other end of the field from just the controls. Like in the arcade, you had to wiggle the stick, you know, left and right to shake a tackle. And I do believe like you spammed on the button, you know, with your NES to break tackles. And man, was Bo Jackson just a god at doing this. But this is the last game on the list. I hope this has been a good jog down memory lane for all you Generation Xers out there like myself. But until next time, Smokin' Jay, SGN Hub, and I'll see you in retro gaming.